Am I recording? Yes, I am. The counter's going up. Hi guys, thank you so much for clicking play again. Is this coming from here? Yes, it is. Okay, good. Excuse me. Don't blame me. Blame the wine. I'm out of everything else. Good stuff. Now, where do I want to start this week? Okay, first and foremost, we're in November. What date is it? 2nd of November. So it's just over a month and I will be in the UK. Actually, no. Yeah, just over a month I'll be in the UK. And then I'll be picking up my A500, my Batman pack. And I'm really excited about that. Okay, that's where I actually wanted to start. So, as I said before, I wanted to go back to Spectrum games and just play a few Spectrum games, carefully hand-picked Spectrum games. So that, because before I had the Plus 3, I had a Spectrum Plus 3, and then I finally got my Amiga, and so at the time it was an upgrade, and I already want to sort of put the re-picking up of my Amiga 500 in December into context in that way, if that makes sense. Didn't manage it last week because I ended up getting, as I showed you before, I picked up for free the Move controllers, which meant I had to jump back into my PlayStation VR, which there you go. So I did do that, which is why I hadn't started my 8-bit era only, what shall we call it? Lent. It's almost like a Lent thing, isn't it? Like a fast. But anyway, so I didn't start it last week. I'm going to be honest with you. This week I've been playing a bit of a ATIC ATAC, which is what we're going to get into. But I did still go back to PSVR because it was Halloween. I don't really do Halloween stuff, but I do enjoy scary movies, and I do love the Paranormal Activity movies. And the PlayStation Store had a special on Paranormal Activity for VR. Paranormal Activity: The Lost Soul. So it was like $12. I had to buy it. So I bought that and I started playing that, and I actually thought, I'm glad I played the special price because it's a bit crap. And I played some more last night and I got into some of the more scary scenes, and I'm like, actually, this is awesome. I still wouldn't pay more than the special price, to be honest. So if you've got PSVR, wait for a special on that game. But if you get it on special, yeah, it's good. It's so good. Don't expect anything more than a movie tie-in VR experience. It is a game, it is fully interactive, but as VR games go, it's a bit of a letdown. But what makes up for it is the atmosphere that comes the more you progress in the game. So yeah. Anyway, so I guess I'm halfway through that. In fact, I'm less than halfway if the percentage indicator on the game trophies or whatever you want to call it indicates. I think it says I'm up to about 18%. So it's going to be hard to put that down, but I'm going to. So from here until I go to the UK and get my Amiga, this is it. Okay, Spectrum games only for me, or maybe I've got an Atari Flashback sitting down there, Namco joystick, that's fair game as well. Anything pre-Amiga is fair game. But I'm not even going to touch any Amiga stuff. I will be looking at Amiga stuff. Now, it's November, so I encourage you, and I'll put a link in the description to where it is on archive.org, but I encourage you to look at Amiga Format, the November issue from 1989. That's now 30 years old. I had a quick flick through. There are some great memories in that magazine for me in terms of games that I played, but I don't physically own a copy of that magazine. I was tempted to do a flick through online, but I'm not going to do that, okay? I'm going to go ahead with my original plan. I'm going to play ATIC ATAC, okay? And while I switch to screen and cam, I'm playing it not through Spectaculator. I've just remembered one other thing I've got to update you on. I'm not playing it through Spectaculator because there wasn't on Spectrum World or whatever it is. There's no ROM for it because there's no distribution rights, but archive.org have got it on their 8-bit games that you can play for free at the moment. So that's how I'm going to play it. There's reasons why I prefer using Spectaculator, which I will go into when we get into the next game next week. So just be aware I'm doing it through this. Now the other thing I just wanted to bring to your attention, and in fact let's jump back to camera, because of what happened to Octavius Kitten, and in honesty, I don't follow her channel that much, but I think it's just such a sad thing when a small YouTuber gets hit by somebody that is holding on to IP rights for no other reason than they paid some cash for them, and I think that's gutting what's happened to her. But it's been a wake-up call for me. I've been using, obviously, as you can tell, the actual Amiga 500 branding, but moving the letters around to spell 005 AGIMA, which is about my journey back to the Amiga, because it's obviously, if you haven't, I'm sure you've figured that out by now, but it's basically Amiga 500 backwards. So it makes sense. So I'll keep the name, but I'm not going to use that branding because I don't think I have any right to use that. And seeing what's happened to gut-wrenching stuff that's happened to Octavius Kitten, and I just think that's terrible. But yeah, I just forward thinking. I'll say no more than that. So what I did was I basically took pencil to paper. I literally took pencil to paper and I thought, I'll do some 3D drawing, and I even videoed it. And you'll thank me for this. I deleted the video before I uploaded it because it was just me drawing this and muttering down my my microphone on my mobile phone, but using single point perspective like I used to do back in school. Now I guess the end result is, apart from the fact that I've messed up the 5 and turned it into an S, the end result is what I was after, which is the level of art that I did at secondary school. The level of technical drawing, except I refused to use a ruler for most of it. I was using a ruler, but it was taking too long, so I went freehand, stuff it, to come up with a new logo. Now, the plan is, this is temporary, and when I get my Amiga, I will recreate this using the same techniques, but I'll recreate this in Deluxe Paint, and I'll capture that as a video. So that's the idea, and that'll be my logo going forward, and nobody has rights to that except me. My avatar is obviously from an Amiga Format magazine. I'm going to try and get permission to use a adaptation of that, and I'll do one up myself again in Deluxe Paint, is my plan. So that's where I'm planning on going with that. So just drawing your attention to that. It's now behind me, and it's also there. It's right there. Right. So, no, I don't want cam. I'm already on cam. I want screen. ATIC ATAC. Why am I showing you ATIC ATAC? Because it's possibly, well, 2 reasons actually. The Spectrum Plus 3 is another system that I want to recollect. The Amiga is the pinnacle for me, seriously, and there's other things I want to do around that. I want to reveal what I want to do with my collection next year, because at the moment my focus is on getting that A500, and I'm seriously hovering over the buy button on Plus 3s on other machines that I won't tell you about right now. But now is not the right time, let's put it that way. I could afford to do them, but it wouldn't be the right thing to do. It'd be a selfish thing to do. So, and it is all about the Amiga, and I don't want to spoil that experience. So it is all about buying the Amiga, and I am seriously just sitting on my wallet. But because I want to re-own an Amiga, because I also want to re-own a Plus 3, I don't want to spoil the experience of games that I would want to buy a hard copy that were from my original collection. So what I'm going to concentrate on over these next few weeks until I get to go to the UK, okay, and capture as much of that for you guys and for myself, in all honesty, as I can, is the games that I never owned, but the games that inspired me to want a Spectrum, okay? And so that really brings me back to games that I played at mates' houses. So does that make sense? So I remember playing, and in fact, I would have played it for minutes, tops, minutes. It was at my friend Daniel's house from junior school, okay? And I went to my friend Daniel's house, and we spent most of the day playing Star Wars, playing Action Force, which for those of you in America is G.I. Joe, and having battles, and Daniel always won because it was his house. He had the Millennium Falcon and TIE Fighters and all that kind of thing. I probably would have taken over my Snowspeeder, which is kicking around. Oh, it's behind here. There we go. And added my X-Wing. Look, still have my Snowspeeder. There we go. As you've probably seen before. And I would have taken that round of my X-Wing, which is also behind the screen here. They just happen to be piled up behind the screen at the moment. And it was towards the end of the day. I remember it vividly. It was towards the end of the day, and he had a Spectrum 48, you know, the rubber key. I never owned a Spectrum 48, and to this day I want one, but that's another thing we'll get into talking about next year. But that was the machine I wanted back then, because that's what all my mates had. And at the end of the day, it got to the end of the day, I'm not sure if we played Jet Set Willy. I need to fire up Jet Set Willy and see if that rings any bells. But I do remember specifically he fired up ATIC ATAC, and we played some games. And again, it was his house, so he had more keyboard time than I did. And we had no joystick. We were playing on the rubber keys, which is something I can't recreate. But it was amazing, and it was one of those, you know, like I said, I was at junior school, so it was pre-secondary school, and the impact, little things like that, seeing a computer in the shops and seeing games played, but seeing a computer at your mate's house as well and seeing a particular game played and going, I need that in my life. ATIC ATAC was definitely one of those experiences. And I played it minimally. So I've been playing this week because I don't want to look like a complete idiot. This isn't I've never played ATIC ATAC ever before in my life and oh my god, I'm going to be crap. Let's see what I can do. What I gather is you have to find 3 parts to a big key to get yourself out of the mansion. So far I've found 2. And my memory being what it is these days, I can't remember where the hell they were. Let's get into it and I'll rattle along as we go. But that's the main reason I'm going to play this today. And I've been playing this most of this week, okay? And then I'll talk at the end about what I'm going to be playing next week. Or will I save it as a... I'll save it, I think. First and foremost, what I hate is who the hell dreamt up these controls? Let me just talk you through this and look at your own keyboard for reference. Oh, bloody hell. Because Q and W are left and right. Okay, that's fine. What the heck is up and down? E is... Oh. R is up. R is up. E is down. What? Who thought that was a good idea? So... There we go. I've lost a life already. And then T... So, seriously, look at your keyboard. Or look at a keyboard or whatever. And then T is the fire button here. And then Z down at the bottom there is... Flipping, I don't know what. Oh, I can watch it on that screen. There we go. Then I'm more looking at the camera. No, that's fine. I'll look at this here. So basically, all your keys are in a line. Let's just talk through it. I'm going to die this time. So Q, W, E, R, T are all in a horizontal line. So it makes no tactile sense that your up and down is included in that. Like, what the hell? I've just noticed the game volume is a bit high, so I'm just going to see if I can bring that down a bit. Okay, and I'm also just going to bring my speaker volume down so you're not getting an echo. There we go. Okay. Right. So just that's why sometimes you'll see me go down when really I should be going up. Right. That's the end of that. Let's start that life again. Oh, where am I? Oh, I'm alive. I'm going to die here. I'm going to die. I'm just going to let myself die. So the controls are crazy, and on that rubbery keyboard, they would have been even more crazy as well, I think. The little chicken on the right, I've seen I think Steve Benway's done this. I think maybe Dave plays retro games badly. David, I think you may have done this a lot better than I have. But the reason I've just shared with you is why I want to cover this game today. Now I haven't got any volume. Right, okay. So let's see how far I can get in one thing. So these doors kind of open and shut. I don't need to talk you through the game. Really just talking through, I guess, how I've had to learn. I mean, seriously now, I shouldn't have picked up that food now. I've had to learn all these years later because I never ended up owning this game. This is one of those games, even when I got my Spectrum, I thought I must get ATIC ATAC because that was so cool at Daniel's house, and I never got round to owning it. I don't have the key to that door. Why am I trying to go through a green door? Yeah, I think I need some food now. Well, now I have the green. And I've had to learn all the things, like the fact that this guy can actually go through the grandfather clocks. Speaking of which, we will not hear from my grandfather clock today because it's just gone past 6, so he has chimed 6. And he's still running on time. Don't say it too... I've got the green key now. Don't say it too loudly. The story behind my grandfather clock, by the way, is I bought it when we moved into this house, because this is an old timber frame house, and I just thought this needs to grandfather clock it. Absolutely needs a grandfather clock. And I found one at a closing down... what do you call it? antique shop. And I got it, and they didn't think it was working, but the guy looked inside at the mechanism. So it's from the 1800s, this grandfather clock, early to mid 1800s. And I got it, and he looked inside as I was packing it up to put it in a van, and he goes, I think you've got a bargain, because from what I didn't even know what I was looking at. That's an old clock, looks nice, I've always wanted a grandfather clock. And so anyway, he'd obviously clocked. He'd obviously looked at the mechanism inside as we pulled it apart and thought, there's nothing wrong with that. So anyway, it didn't run for, let's say, 5 years, 4 or 5 years. And anybody that knows anything about grandfather clocks will know, why am I telling you this on a retro gaming channel? Too much wine. Is if they're not level, they are not happy. So after about 4 years of living in this house, I go, okay, do you know what? I had a mate round who knew some stuff about clocks, and I said, look, I'm not happy doing this myself, but with you here, I feel a bit more confident. Can we try leveling this thing? So we had to play about, and we had to skew the mechanism inside the case to get the pendulum swinging evenly, and then the thing just ran without stopping. And I'm like, what the heck? But the face was skew inside the case. So anyway, I kept running it. I ran it like a classic car. I would only run it at weekends, okay? So I was running this grandfather clock just at weekends. And then the more I ran it, the more I started to think to myself, if I'm honest, it's losing time. It's losing about 5 minutes a day. And then it was losing about 10 minutes a day. Then it was losing about 15 minutes a day. And then I was correcting the time every couple of hours. And I thought, this is stupid. So I had a bit of a play about again with messing about with the pendulum swing. And then I messed it up. I completely messed it up, and it would not run at all. And I'm like, oh, gutted. This is all in the space of a week. And every night I'm coming home from work, having a bit of a play, trying it again. It would run for 15 minutes, and then it would die again. Okay, and I'm like, what the heck? I've messed it up. So anyway, then I have this final play. And what I did was I actually re-leveled the face so it was actually straight inside the case. Made the case look as level and made sure it wasn't rocking on any uneven ground. And then I just played. There's an arm that goes out to the pendulum that was a little bit bent this way or that way. So I just played about with the bend on that arm, this way, that way, literally over several days. And then it just started running. Oh, I also figured out how you actually correct the pendulum swing, which is there's a little nut at the end, the bottom of the pendulum. So anyway, I did that. And ever since, and it's almost like a fluke that I found the sweet spot. It is running bang on time. And it's not stopping, and it is just working. And I'm like, oh my god, this is so good. So basically these pendulum clocks, right, these grandfather clocks, in excellent condition, which mine is not. I've seen them on eBay. It's a bit like the prices of Amiga. What they're listed for is not necessarily what they sell for, but one of that period of the same design as mine, in excellent condition, with a working moon face. My moon face isn't working, so that is one thing I need to get fixed. $10,000 Australian. It's about £5,000. I paid $1,800. So I reckon in the condition mine which is, let's call it patina, it's probably worth $5,000, so about £2,500. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm not going to sell it, but it's just nice to know. So yeah, it's good. It's good to know that that's what it was. Right, sorry. It's just because I'm walking through grandfather clocks, and you often hear them in the background of my videos. So sorry about that little thing. Now, you don't eat the mushrooms. Let's go back to the game. You don't eat the mushrooms. All I found so far is one bit of this bloody key and a green key. So that's a green door. Let's go through the green door. I think it leads to it leads to a blue. I wasn't expecting that. Hooray! I got a blue key. Sometimes on racing games, I don't know about you guys, WEC Le Mans. Oh my god, I don't have the red key. WEC Le Mans was one of those games, and there's been games since, where I find that if I get what I would call in the zone, something Senna talks about. If you watch the documentary about Senna, actually talks about this. Well, they talk about who's dead by the time they did the documentary, but I think it was actually him saying it. But anyway, where you're not really concentrating on the game, you're just sort of zoning out, and you're playing the game almost in your subconscious. that's when I find I do better on racing games. So I'm wondering if wittering about grandfather clocks is going to do me better in playing ATIC ATAC today. I doubt it. Oh, I don't have red, don't have yellow. I haven't even seen... I've never seen that bit of the big key before. What do I want? Yeah, we'll go the blue key because we've been through less blue doors than anything else. Open! What? This weird thing about this game... yeah, we'll go that way. The weird thing about this... Oh, there's a green door, damn it! The weird thing about this game... I will get the sentence out. The weird thing about this bloody game is... Oh, what's he? He's in front of my bloody door. Stuff here. How you can... You basically shoot axes through yourself. Is the best way I can put it. What is he? He's like Hunchback. So you kind of shoot axes. Like the best way to get going where you're going is just run flat out everywhere. But you can shoot axes whilst you're waiting for a door to open, and they kind of go through you, and they don't kill you, which is interesting. Like this, like what I'm doing now. This has been remade recently for PC apparently, and it looks rather good. I think we go down. No, you need a cross to back Dracula away. I don't have the green key. I don't have the yellow key. Yeah, but you can only carry 3 things at once. I've nearly got all 3 bits of the bloody key. I think it's in the basement, in a different bit of the basement. I think. I have the blue key. I don't know what that does. That's the red area. I have not even seen the red key. And that's not going to do me any good. I'm on my last life. Bugger. Bugger, 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 bugger. I still get told off by my mum for saying bugger. Right. Come on. No, I don't remember seeing him there, which mate. Oh, damn it! I had a bit of the key. I really should be committing to memory or mapping down where these bits of the key are so that I can actually progress. I assume there's another level. How long have we been going for? 22 minutes. Look, that's ATIC ATAC. That's what I've been playing this week, apart from Paranormal Activity via PlayStation VR. Next week, I'm going to be playing a completely different Spectrum game. Again, one that I loved, but one that I didn't own, and I never actually got round to owning it on the Spectrum. So I'm going to be enjoying that, and I'm just going to continue this theme until we get to pick up the Amiga. So by that time, look, my head is going to be full of 8-bit games only, including, like I say, I've got the other stuff there that I could play as well. So, but there's only some of it I'm going to record. That's going to be my gaming life, and my life outside that will be, look, I'll continue to watch things like Nostalgia Nerd and Dan Wood and all of that, and for me, if I happen to come across Amiga music or Amiga games, for me at this point it's like it was back in the day in terms of if I would go into a shop and I would watch the Amigas there. I might have a quick play on one, I might see a demo running, the Juggler demo, stuff like that, and that would whet my appetite for I must get an Amiga. So I like this approach. And the way we're going to do things next week, well, it's going to be via Spectaculator, and you're going to have the full loading time of the game, because that's how it was back in the day. Even though I had a +3, I'm covering the games that I played on my mate's Spectrum 48s or +2s. So I just thought of another one. Ooh. And plus, most of the games, even on my +3, were actually cassette based because they were so much cheaper and easier to find. So that's what I was more used to back then. Okay, thank you again for clicking play. Please leave a comment, have a discussion, talk about stuff, talk about anything. Talk about how I really shouldn't drink wine before, or talk about how you really don't give a crap about grandfather clocks. Whatever you want. Cheers. Thank you very much.